I mentioned earlier how you can import a specific list into Facebook, get a match rate of maybe 50% on that list, and target those people with ads. Okay, so that's a very direct route. But I want to highlight something else. So one of the biggest advantages you have with Facebook advertising instead of other social media platforms such as Twitter and LinkedIn is that Facebook just has so much data. And when you're dealing with huge user bases and tons of data analytics, and machine learning, what it means is that you're able to do a lot of machine learning, a lot of predictive analytics, and rely on data more than anecdotes. But if you only have small numbers, then that really isn't that effective. So Facebook has been able to refine this much more simply by being bigger than other social media platforms have. And one of the ways that you utilize this is instead of importing a custom audience that is just the list itself, the CSV file of prospective customers, instead what you do is you take that list as a source, okay? So this is the lookalike source, and then what Facebook will do is it will use its technology to figure out who looks similar to those people. So I'm going to give you a few examples. Now, where I've seen this be particularly successful was importing a list of sales qualified leads. Okay, so sales qualified leads are defined differently at different business-to-business companies. But what you might do is you go into HubSpot, you go into Salesforce, you use whatever CRM tool that you have at your company, maybe it's Zoho, and export a list of every single sales qualified lead that you had. And those might be defined as people that had meaningful conversations with the sales team. Sometimes people define SQLs as more like what I would call sales qualified opportunities. So people that are going to make a purchase decision in the next 3 to 6 months. So those are people that are like hot leads, right? People that are actually potentials to become customers in the short term. So import that list. Hopefully it's a substantial size. And then what you can do is you can choose one of these lookalike percentages. So, for example, if you went with 1%, a 1% lookalike consists of the people most similar to your lookalike audience source. Increasing the percentage creates a bigger, broader audience. Now, if you're trying to go big, then you might want to go with 10%. And you're going to say, okay, I want as many people as possible similar to all the sales qualified leads I've ever had at my company. So you can see the real power of Facebook advertising here is being able to hit all of these people with outbound marketing. You're not limited by how many people are searching on Google, how many people are searching on the app space. No, you're only limited by how many people are on Facebook, and that's a massive number. Okay, so you import that list, you find the lookalikes, and then you're able to target them, and you're also able to set geographic limitations on who those people are. Another thing that you might want to do, besides SQL lookalikes, is import a list of customers and say, here are the people that actually bought from us. Let's go find other people that look like people that bought from us in the past. Now, that's not going to work if you've changed strategies, okay? Maybe in the past you focused on SMBs and now you're going mid-market. Well, your lookalike audience is not really what you're going to want. Similar with retargeting, right? If a lot of the traffic to your website was not who you're targeting now, then retargeting is not going to be the greatest thing for you. The other problem you're going to have with importing customers is that the list may be too small, depending on how big your company is. You're dealing with a Fortune 500 company? Great. Import the list of customers, find your lookalikes. The challenge is getting the scale out of that. So that's why you need to go up funnel. Now, you could go further up funnel than SQLs, and you could say MQL. So import a list of all the marketing qualified leads. Problem here is that companies often have very poor definitions of marketing qualified leads. It's just anybody that downloaded some crappy white paper or something like that. There's nothing to say that that's actually a worthy candidate to potentially buy your product. Okay, so the last thing here is to not be limited by the number of customers that you currently have or the number of sales qualified leads that you have. Is you just go and you get a list, right? And I talked earlier about how you can scrape lists from LinkedIn, you can scrape lists from association websites, you could go buy a list from a broker. Tons of ways you can get a list. You can pay somebody on Fiverr, somebody overseas to compile a list for you, and then you import that and you say, go and find me as many people that look like this list as possible. And that really only makes sense if the list itself is not big enough or the match rate's not big enough. Then you need to expand it more by using lookalikes. And it's great because you can get some broad targeting here. And with broad targeting, you can have bigger impact and you can start to achieve some sort of market dominance.